Hello class, welcome to my midterm. My name is Arman Keswani and today we'll be comparing the different boroughs' crime statistics. More specifically, we'll be looking at the Bronx and Manhattan crime statistics. We'll be looking at different datas and trying to find different points on the type of people in New York City to see if we can draw any conclusions on the type of person that is more likely to create a crime in these boroughs. So here we can see that I have the different crime types and I have the different year types. We can also see that this is the Bronx crime statistics, which is one of the major crime statistics that we'll be comparing today. I have key things such as the mayor of New York City, which is Bill de Blasio, and the police commissioner at the time that this data was released, which is Derman Shia. We can see I also have a historic perspective data to see the different time periods such as 1990s, 1993, 1998 to see the main types of crimes and the amounts of these crimes during those years to formulate conclusions whether the crime is getting better or worse. So I formatted my item as a table. So I'll show you how to do that. So I clicked medium style 2 since I liked the color and it fit well with the black. I created a pivot table on the sum of 2019. I put the rows in the crime type and I put some of the 2019 values in values. So I also have the New York City data of the other boroughs. And I got these all from this source over here on the NewYorkCity.gov site from the NYPD, which was released. I also have a raw data table which shows us the different populations, the age and sex, the race and Hispanic origins, the population characteristics, the housing types, the families and living arrangements, the computer and internet use, the education, the health, the economy, the transportation, and the income and the poverty rates in both Bronx and New York City, since today we will be comparing two. This is important because it's important to see whether the people over 65, for example, are creating more of the crimes, or are the people who are younger creating more of the crimes, because we can see in places that have more crimes if the age groups that the people are creating more crimes. Also, we can formulate whether income affects the type of crime that these different places experience. Also, education is a key statistics, whether the population is educated, as we can see over here, the education table. Also, we can see the housing. Do more people own their house or are they renting? Which is pretty important as well. So let's go look at our dashboard over here. So in our dashboard, first we have the Bronx crime types and the amounts that are in the Bronx crime types. So we can see that arson and assault are some of the biggest crimes committed in the Bronx. We also see that in Manhattan crime types. So this gives us a good data to show us that we can see that Bronx has slightly higher crime than compared to Manhattan. And when it compares to overall, the total is much more. Also, we can see that historic Bronx types has always been high. And these are the top 7 types of crimes committed in the Bronx. We can also see the education, which is important to formulate some results about why each place experienced more crime. So we can see that Bronx has 72% as high school graduates, and while New York City has 81.60% high school graduates, and Bronx has 19.8% college graduates, while Manhattan has 37.4% college graduates. We can formulate conclusions to think maybe education is affecting why there is more crime in Bronx versus regular New York City, because a lot less college graduates compared to New York City, as we can see the data, there's almost double the amount in New York City that have college degrees. Another thing that's important to look at is the age and sex of a person. We could see that the age and sex in both Bronx and New York City are pretty comparable, but we can see that in Bronx there are more people under 18, and we can try to formulate conclusions. Maybe younger people are more likely to commit a crime since maybe their brains are not fully developed yet. So also another very key data is average income. So in Bronx we can see that the average income is $38,000, while in New York City it's $60,000 around. To be exact, it's $60,662, while Bronx is $38,085. We can see that's like almost double in New York City. And it's not like this is like you're comparing Florida to New York where there's a whole different standard of living. Bronx is literally like 15 minutes from Manhattan, which isn't that far. And the cost of living is pretty similar. Even though Bronx is cheaper, it depends what type of property you get. But overall, like food, shelter, and education costs are all the same, or very comparable, if the neighborhood's comparable, of course. So, most common crime in Bronx we can see is murder, robbery, and burglary. Also, another important thing, I put a slicer tool which you can filter these different data sets. So I'll show you how I did that. So let's go to Bronx. So here I click design, and then I click insert slicer. So here we can see what, if we want to just see the crime type, we can show the data for what we only want to see. So let's see just crime type. So one of the most famous crimes are burglary. So if we just want to pull up the burglary on the Bronx crime statistics, we can just click burglary on this slicer tool, and it'll just show us the burglary statistics. Same we can do any other type of, such as hate crimes. We can only see the hate crime statistics, or murder crimes, and you get the point. Here I will delete this now so we can see all of our data set. Okay, and I wanted to show you guys some of the key data sets I found which I added to the dashboard, was the income, the education, and I also added the age and sex, which I felt was important to see, to draw conclusions. So my conclusions on this is that we conclude on how younger people in Bronx are more likely to commit a crime, also how the most common crime is robbery, how usually the lower income has more crime, and also how Bronx is more dangerous than any other borough in New York City, and about the specific points about comparing Bronx and Manhattan. Please, if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment below or email me at armankeswani, ARMANKESWANI @gmail.com. Thank you and have a great day.